All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're talking Chicago Bears. So I don't know if you guys saw earlier this past week, Michael Irvin said that the Chicago Bears are the team that's most likely to have a Detroit Lions season next year, right? The Detroit Lions won like 3 football games, just like Chicago last season. They won 9 games last year. Chicago won 7 this year. And in a couple of hours, we're watching the Detroit Lions play in the NFC Championship. Now, I do need to preface that in that hypothetical scenario that he laid out, the Chicago Bears ended up drafting Caleb Williams at pick number 1. And so all the way up until probably middle-ish of March, we won't really know what Chicago plans on doing with pick number 1, if we even do, right? So you have the number 1 pick in the draft. You have the 9th pick in the draft, and you have a ton of cap space. Now, what I want to say is this. Whether the quarterback next season for Chicago is Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, I wholeheartedly agree that they can have a Detroit Lions ascension. Now, I'm not saying the conference championship game or what have you, but, we go back to a couple of games from the Chicago Bears this season, and it's like, all right, well, they probably should have had 9 wins. We go back even 1 year ago when the Chicago Bears had 3 freaking wins, if Justin Fields wasn't on that roster, I think there's a very real argument that Chicago probably wins 1 or max 2 games that season. So today we're going to talk about some possible hypotheticals. We're going to talk about why we're very bearish, geez, that's why I'm not a stock guy or a finance guy, why we're bullish on the Chicago Bears. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with a couple of Bears videos every single week. Bears fans, we could try to get this video to 250 likes. That would mean the absolute world to me. So just like every Bears video I make, I have to say this. I would love if Justin Fields is quarterback 1 next season. I just don't really think that's what's going to happen. And even if, and here's why, even if Ryan Poles thinks that Justin Fields, is not even that he's not the problem, because I think it's clear as day that it's not, Justin's not the reason they won 7 football games, right? If Justin wasn't even the quarterback for the whole season this year, Chicago probably has another 3 or 4 win season. The thing is this, you bring in the GM side, you bring in the ownership side, you have all these executive GMs, all of these NFL scouts saying, oh, Caleb Williams is generational. Caleb Williams is next to the perfect prospect as far as quarterbacks coming out of a draft class. And when we factor that into Justin Fields' looming 5th-year option, and we factor in just resetting the quarterback clock as far as finances go, as the time passes, unless Ryan Poles is completely enamored by Justin Fields, unfortunately, man, it just kind of feels like Justin will be QB1 for a different team next season, whether that's going to be Atlanta, whether that's going to be Vegas, whether that's going to be Pittsburgh. And we could sit here, and we have sat here multiple times on this channel and said, well, if Justin's such a bad quarterback, why does every team that desperately needs quarterback, why do all of their fans clearly, they would take Justin Fields in a heartbeat? But that's neither here nor there. So I saw a mock draft earlier today. I was from NBC Sports Chicago, and they had Caleb Williams going number 1, and then they had Dallas Turner going number 9. So the point is this. Outside of the quarterback position, like we alluded to in the beginning of the video, whether it's Justin Fields or whether it's Caleb Williams, that doesn't even matter to me. I mean, it matters, but either way, Chicago is going to be an above 500 team this upcoming season, but they still have some holes. They still have some flaws. They need depth all across the board, right? This is a team that went 3 wins to 7 wins. You're in a rebuild. You're coming out of a rebuild, but you just need to keep stockpiling that depth, right? That cheap, young, hungry depth, whether that's in the draft and free agency or whatever. But I need an edge rusher, I need a center, and I ideally would love a wide receiver 2 and a wide receiver 3. I still have some type of faith to Tyler Scott, but I'm not really going to hold on to that. So in this mock draft, at pick number 9, right? Pick number 1 is going Caleb Williams. At pick number 9, you're going Dallas Turner, the edge rusher out of Bama. Now, here's what's interesting. In 58 games with Alabama, he had 23 and a half sacks, 33 and a half tackles for loss, and 117 total pressures. He was one of the best defensive players in the nation. And so if you're walking away with Caleb Williams at pick number 1 and Dallas Turner at pick number 9, well, I'm already licking my chops here. All right, because another edge rusher to pair with Montez Sweat, that gets me going. And once again, even though I love Justin Fields, the thought of Caleb Williams still intrigues me. It still intrigues me greatly, just having the first pick in the draft. Yes, it comes with some concerns because it's very high. It's the best pick in the draft. It's a quarterback, the most important position on the field. So there are, certain expectations that comes with, but still, like, the idea of whether it's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, like, I'm still excited about the Bears season this upcoming year. They had Justin Fields and a 2025 sixth round pick get traded to New England in exchange for the 34th pick in this year's draft and then a 2025 fifth round pick. So if you're going to trade Justin Fields, as much as I would love to trade him to like Atlanta for the 8th pick, or trade him to Pittsburgh, or trade him to Vegas and get a first round draft pick, I don't know what the actual legitimacy is going to be with that, because if you're trading for Justin Fields, what are you going to do? Well, you kind of have to pick up that 5th year option, and that just means more money's on the table here. So an early second round pick kind of equates to a late first round pick. So if you're going to trade Justin Fields, if Ryan Poles does decide to trade Justin Fields, and I'm getting the 34th pick, one of the third was at the second pick in the second round of the draft, like, I will take that. I think that's very good value for Justin Fields if you do decide to trade him. With that, you're going to go, they went with Keon Coleman, the wide receiver out of Florida State. They end up drafting another edge rusher, another center, or a center from Georgia. The rest of the mock draft doesn't really matter to me, but I actually, that was one of the first mock drafts that I actually read, and I was like, you know what, I actually kind of like that. And I think if Ryan Poles does decide to keep the first pick and go Caleb Williams, and I'm getting the 34th pick for Justin Fields, and I'm drafting an edge rusher, and I'm drafting a wide receiver with that 34th pick, like, that's something that gets me going, because you have a ton of money in free agency. Like, they have a ton of cap flexibility here. So, once again, man, I want Justin Fields to be QB1 next season. I don't know if that's just because I think Justin Fields has got that dog in him. I think he's a dynamic, elusive playmaker. I think he can clearly throw the football. He's one of the best runners in the National Football League at the quarterback position. Like, I want Justin Fields, but still, having Caleb Williams also does excite me. So we're going to see a ton of mock drafts, and we're going to see a ton of speculation on why they should keep Justin Fields. I can show you a ton of stats why they should keep Justin Fields. I can show you a ton of stats why they shouldn't keep Justin Fields. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what Ryan Poles decides, and we won't know that for at least probably 6 more weeks. So that's it for today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for more. But most importantly, guys, what are your thoughts on drafting Caleb Williams at pick number 1? Going with an edge or a wide receiver, or Brock Bowers at pick number 9. But ultimately, what are your thoughts on drafting Caleb Williams at pick number 1 and trading Justin Fields for the 34th pick? That's it for me. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see.